Today's episode is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't already heard of Anchor, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast. I even use Anchor myself, and from personal experience, I 100% recommend Anchor for those who want to start a successful podcast. First of all, Anchor is 100% free, which is great for beginners. Next, there are tools that allow you to record and edit episodes from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your own podcast so it can be heard everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to your podcast at. The best part is, using Anchor can even make you some money. No minimum listenership. Everything you need to create your podcast is all in the Anchor app, and that's why I love it. Download the free Anchor app on the App Store or go to anchor.fm. Again, to download the Anchor app, go to the App Store or anchor.fm to get started. Thank you so much, Anchor, for sponsoring this episode of Readability. Welcome to Readability. I'm your host, Ashley Kelson. In Readability, we read all kinds of stories, from short storybooks to large chapter books. You could sit down with family or just lay back and relax. Every Saturday, we read, review, and recommend different books for your listening pleasure. I really hope you enjoy Readability. Let's get started. All right, let's get on to our Readability kickoff session. I just wanted to give a heads up on what we'll be doing in this week's episode. Granted, it's going to be pretty chill and laid back, but I just wanted to give some, context. First and foremost, we have a few new segments to add on, so don't be frightened when they pop up. In reviews, there are multiple, like the highlight section, where I read my favorite parts of books, the highlighted sections of books, etc. I hope you understand what I mean. I think that's really all I need to discuss in this week's kickoff section. So let's get into the book introduction. Alright, the book I'll be reviewing today is Merci Suárez Changes Gears by Meg Medina. I love this book so much, so let's get on to the review. Merci Suárez Changes Gears is a great young reader's literature novel written by Meg Medina. It tells the story of Merci Suárez, a fellow Seaward Pines 6th grade student, trying to navigate her way through complicated challenges and problems between friends and family, especially her Lolo, her grandfather, who is not being himself. He's falling off his bike when he rides with Merci and is starting to get angry at silly things. She is worried that she may be in the dark about a lot. It may seem amazing having all of your family live next-door neighbors with you, but it's getting harder, especially since her older brother, Rolly, is constantly writing college applications. At school, Merci has to deal with the most popular girl in the school, Enna Santos, and her minions. Merci also has to work with her new sunshine buddy, Michael Clark. A connection some kids may have with Merci is being yourself, being in a new environment and going through new changes. And you don't even know if it's for the worst or the best. Meg Medina does a fantastic job associating these feelings with Merci and her personal problems she's having at school. Let's get on to some basic facts about Merci Suárez Changes Gears. The book is 355 pages long, not including a note from the author and the acknowledgments, which would equal up to 362 pages in the book. There are 38 chapters. The book received Newbery Medal for the most distinguished contribution to American literature for children. Candlewick Press was the publishing brand, and the author of the book was the award-winning Meg Medina. I just wanted to give a quick warning. This book has a lot of Spanish language in it. It may be difficult for some young readers to try and understand what each word is pronounced. My advice is try to pronounce it the best you can. Use any resources to help you if you can. Google Translate, a friend or family member, even the Audible recording. That's actually something I use. Whatever you need to use it. Trust me, there's a lot of Spanish in this book. Just a little heads up. Alright, now the next thing I want to do is, what's your rating? If I had to rate this book out of 10 stars, I would honestly rate it an 8.5. It's not that bad. It's a great coming-of-age novel for kids. I love this book and wouldn't mind reading it again. I am comparing it to other books I loved, and that's why I'm giving it an 8 or so. And I totally recommend. Speaking of recommend, the question is, do I recommend this book to someone else my age? My quick answer would be not exactly my very first recommendation. This book would probably be my second recommendation I give to someone. But if I had to, I would say give it a go. It's not a bad book at all. See, if you're looking for a book that gives you an emotional value, this book doesn't have loads of that, for me personally. If you're interested, I'm not going to stop you from checking it out. It's a great book. It is now time for my favorite part of book reviews, the highlight segment. This is the segment where I look through the book I am reviewing, and I share any parts I think are cool, interesting, or important for you all to know. Even though I don't have much to share for this segment, I do have one. Everything. I hate everything, I think, as I run into the girls' bathroom to hide. Now, I don't want to spoil much for those who haven't read this book yet, but this sentence, let's be honest, we can all really relate to that a lot. Merci at this point isn't at her best state. She's extremely angry for not getting what she wanted, and these emotions are what we feel when we are growing up. And I think this is a great sentence to put into the story to show how Mercy's feeling at this point. Before I end this episode, I just want to thank Anchor again for sponsoring this episode. I adore Anchor so much for what they do for inspiring podcasters. Once again, to download Anchor, go to anchor.fm or download it on the App Store. I hope this review gave you some reasons to check out Merci Suárez Changes Gears by Meg Medina. It is a great book nonetheless and is written beautifully. Thank you for joining me, your host, Ashley Kelson, on Readability. It has been a really great time, and I hope you join me again next week. Remember, every Saturday we either read, review, or recommend a book for your listening pleasure. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Keep reading, folks. Bye!